Okay, welcome to this first tutorial. The first thing we're going to do is scratch the cat there by right clicking and deleting him, and then come to the stage and up to the background tab, and we're going to import our own maze background, which hopefully you've downloaded from the Game On area. I've got mine sitting ready on my desktop here, this maze image. I'm just going to select that and press OK, and you can see that brings that into Scratch. So straight away we can get rid of the empty background one, and we're going to go in and edit this background by clicking the edit button, and that brings up a paint editor. We've got all the normal sort of painting tools at the top there, the fill tool, and I'm just going to choose a turquoisey colour here to fill in the background area. You can do that at the sides as well. These three blocks are going to be part of my wall, so they need to be the same colour, and I'm going to choose black for my path here, and again continue to personalise it by selecting a nice bright green for the centre square there, and just going to leave it at that for now and press OK. You're then ready to get on with all the other bits of making the game, but what I'll just show you quickly is how you can kind of personalise and also add themes to your background. It doesn't have to stay as a traditional maze. You can see this is a Christmassy style one with baddie snowmen in there. We've got a spacey one here where we've got nice stars on the background and planets and spaceships. And we've also got an Egyptian style background coming up here, so you can see it really is quite easy to adjust your artwork and apply that to any other cross-curricular topics or themes that you might be studying at school at the moment, or maybe just that a child is particularly interested in. Okay, once we've designed our maze, then our next job is to start creating our baddie characters, and we're just going to create one baddie initially. I'm going to create traditional Pacman ghost here. If you click on the new paint a sprite button, the paint editor will come back up, and it's just a case of you can choose your brush size from the palette there, and there's all, again, as I said, all the normal drawing tools, a nice colour palette. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw a ghost character for my baddie here. A nice blue one, I think, and give him some eyes and the pupils in the centre there. If you do make a mistake, you've got the rubber tool, but you've also got an undo tool as well. There's his mouth looking suitably cross, and we'll press OK to add him into our game, and you'll notice straight away he's way too big. So if you right click the sprite, you'll see resize this sprite as an option, and if you click the little arrow box that appears there and just drag it, shrink him down till he fits comfortably inside the centre square there. That will ensure that he can fit through all the different pathways in the game. Right, the next job is to make our baddies move, and you can see that on the screen I've also loaded up the coordinate sheet, which is also available as a download on the Game On area as a PDF, so you can print that out and give it to your students. And Scratch lets you use coordinates to make your characters move and go to particular places. So you can use the X and the Y numbers, which you'll see just below the Scratch screen there, and they're telling you the coordinate position of your mouse pointer at any time. But what you've got on the coordinate PDF sheet is the exact coordinates for every square in that maze, every part of the path. So using those, you can take the X number and the Y number that is shown and use the gliding blocks, which we'll look at in a moment, to make that ghost move to those particular positions. But the first job is to decide on a starting position for our ghost character, so I'm going to put him up there in the top right hand corner. And we're going to begin his programming, his coding, with the green flag block, and that will be the start of every bit of code we use from now on. That means it will start working when the game is activated, and that green flag is the kind of go button. And attached to that, we're going to go to the motion blocks and use this block that says go to, and there's an X and a Y coordinate number in there. And if I check the coordinate sheet, I can see the coordinate for the top right hand corner is 135 for X and also 135 for Y. And typing those numbers into the squares in my go to block is telling my character to go to that exact position when the flag is clicked. So clicking that will always reset him to that starting position whenever the game is restarted. After that, we're going to create a path of movement, but we want that to be a path that will repeat and keep happening all the time. So we're going to use this forever block. These kind of C-shaped forever blocks are looping or repeating blocks, and anything inside that kind of forever loop will just continue to happen until the stop button is pressed. And to create the movement of our ghost, we're going to use the glide block, which is works in a very similar way to the go-to block, but lets you actually see the movement and control the speed of the movement. So it says glide for 1 second, and again we've got an X and a Y position. So the first place I'm going to send him to is across the top of the screen. We've got different options of where he stops, where the different passageways begin, but I'm going to take him to this point here, which the coordinate, if I just check the sheet there, is -90 for X and 135 for Y. So again, typing those numbers into the gliding block. -90 in there, and 135 is already in. And that's going to send him to that position, so clicking the flag puts him in starting position, and then he glides to that coordinate. And as I said, I can adjust the speed by changing the number of seconds there. Then we're going to take a second gliding block now and put it underneath the first one, and decide on his next movement really. So he's going to work his way across the top, and then I'm going to send him down that short passageway to that square there, and the coordinate for that one, if again check my coordinate sheet, is -90 for X and 45 for Y. So I'll place those numbers in the box. There we go. And the computer will do those movements in order from top to bottom. Next movement, I think we could send him to the side, to the left there. So we're going to just test that first bit we've put together first there. So he goes across and down, and he's just repeating that at the moment because that's inside the forever block. But we'll send him down the maze to there, and then perhaps across to the left, I think. So we'll get another glide block. Again, check those coordinates on our reference sheet, and the X number this time is -135 and 45 for Y. And it's really worth emphasizing the importance of the minus numbers to these students as you're talking about those, as -45 and +45 are obviously completely different places on the grid there. I'm going to add a fourth glide block, which will take it, after he's gone across, that will take him down to the bottom left hand corner of the screen, and I know the coordinates for that are -135 for both. And let's give that a little test now. So you can see the path of movement is set now. He's just, that last diagonal movement was because he was repeating the first glide block, but we'll aim to continue building that up, and the important thing to remember is to eventually send him back to his starting position, so you don't get any of those diagonal movements suddenly jumping across parts of your screen. Okay, I've just moved things on a little bit now, and you can see I've completed my stack of glide blocks that are creating the movement of my first baddie character. So I've got quite about 15 glide blocks in there, and importantly, notice that the very last glide block matches up with my starting position. So you can see now when I click the green flag, he started in that top corner, and he's moving around parts of the maze. Doesn't have to cover every square of the maze, but like I said before, and very importantly, that he makes his way back to that beginning point, and then the loop starts again, and his movements are repeated. So he'll keep doing that right through the game. What we now need to do is make our second baddie character, and right-clicking your sprite down there gives you the option to duplicate your character, which is what we'll do, and that'll make an exact copy and save you having to draw them again. And again, we're going to start a different starting position for him. So I've moved him into the bottom corner there. We've got sprite 1 and sprite 2. You'll see as I click on sprite 2, it's also duplicated all of the script and all of the instructions for sprite number 1, and they are an exact copy, which we don't want to keep, because if their movements are identical to each other, it will in effect look like there's only one ghost there. So I'm going to take all those glide blocks and just drop them on the left to delete them there. I'm going to alter the go-to block at the top, so that's got a starting position for the bottom right, and again, if I use the coordinate sheet there, it's 135 for X and -135 for Y. So that'll ensure he starts in the bottom right, and then just like before, exactly the same process. I'm going to add one glide block at a time and build up a path of movement for the second ghost character, a different way around the maze. So you can see now I've completed the glide blocks for my second baddie character. He's got quite a large stack of blocks, a little weight block in the middle there just to break up his movement. You can add those if you like, they're in the control section. Let's put a little time delay in, and we can just test this now and see that both ghosts will move around. They've both got their own forever loops, so it will keep repeating their movements, covering different parts of the maze. And it's really up to you whether you want to add a third baddie at that point and just repeat the process, duplicate them, and then create a new path of movement. Depends how easy or difficult you want this first part of the game to be. And the next video is going to look at Pacman himself and how we're going to get him to move in a slightly different way. So go and have a look at that one.